All right, good evening. Welcome to Neighbor Power. This is Transit Talk, top thing, IndyGo's new way to pay and Purple Line construction. I'll be your host, Mary Ann Scott, and I would like to introduce your presenters for this evening. Mr. Jordan Patterson is an engagement specialist with IndyGo, and Ms. Faith Chadwick is the public information officer with IndyGo. And I'll turn it over to you. Oh, Jordan, you need to unmute.
All right. Hello, everyone. So glad to be here with you all. We've got some hot topics that we want to discuss. We're going to be talking about IndyGo's new way to pay, our fare system, MyKey. We're also going to be discussing the Purple Line Bus Rapid Transit project that will bring significant infrastructure improvements to 30th Street and Post Road. So I am going to share my screen and we're going to get right into it. There will be a question and answer portion at the end. And if you have any questions in between now and then, feel free to answer or ask your question in the Q&A chat. Awesome. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. All right, so today's agenda. First, we are going to talk about some community programs that I'd like to highlight, and hopefully it piques your interest and you're interested in participating. We'll talk about a new engagement opportunity and some events that IndyGo is hosting beginning mid-March. And then we'll talk about the fare system, followed by the Purple Line, and then we'll end it out with the Q&A session. All right, so IndyGo has several programs meant to build strong partnerships with the communities we serve. The first one I'd like to talk about is the Transit Neighbors program. And as a neighbor, a transit neighbor, you help the agency to expand our reach at a neighborhood level by serving as a communications link to your community in IndyGo. And so we are seeking transit neighbors that regularly attend their community meetings, and basically they would present IndyGo updates while collecting feedback. And you'll be a source for information about transit updates, changes to service and upcoming projects, as well as you'll be a listening ear and eyes and ears in the community, reporting back questions and concerns neighbors might have about transportation service. You know, we really want to build relationships with the communities that we serve, and the Transit Neighbors program is one great way to do that. And what this looks like is at the beginning of every month, you'll receive updates in the form of talking points meant to share orally at your community meeting. You will also receive a short video presentation called IndyGo Now that is easily shareable in a community newsletter and or social media. With the pandemic, I know that neighborhoods are really being flexible with how they disseminate information. Some are holding in-person meetings, some are doing online Zoom meetings, and then some aren't doing meetings at all, and they're sharing information through newsletters. So the Transit Neighbors program is able to accommodate all of those different communications channels in order to push out those transportation updates. The next program that I'd like to talk about is the Adopt a Stop program. And, you know, we are continually investing in infrastructure improvements at stops, not only through direct investments, but also through partnerships with neighborhood groups through the Adopt a Stop program. And through this program, IndyGo places trash cans at bus stops, which is a great way for community groups and individuals to help keep litter off their streets and help IndyGo build capacity to maintain stops. So groups or individuals can have a trash bin and a dedicated sign installed at a stop if they make a one-year commitment to pick up litter around their stop and empty that bin when it's full. And we provide the trash bin liners throughout the adoption, as well as passes, just to show appreciation for your partnership. And so if you are interested in these programs, there is a QR code that you're welcome to scan. Also, there will be a link in the chat where you can fill out a brief survey and express interest in one of those two programs. And the last program that I want to talk about is the travel training program. And this program teaches tips, tricks, and tools for using transit. I started riding the bus about 3 years ago, and it was kind of daunting when I first did it, but I didn't have the travel training. And so this program breaks down that barrier of the unknowns and really seeks to make new riders more comfortable with using transit. And so if you are interested in your neighborhood group having a travel training, it's something that we've put on pause through the pandemic, but we anticipate opening that opportunity back up in the coming months. So fill out the survey and let us know. And then I want to let you all know about our outreach campaign. So IndyGo will be hosting 11 public input opportunities to help shape the future of our paratransit service, known as Open Door. And Open Door is a reservation-based shared ride service for those who meet the criteria established by the Americans with Disabilities Act, also known as ADA. And so meetings will be held both virtually and in person beginning March 16th through April the 8th. And we'll be discussing community priorities and developing ideas for how IndyGo may operate a paratransit service in the future outside of what is mandated by the Americans with Disabilities Act. If you look at this map on the right, you see the ADA coverage area in green, and then you see the non-ADA coverage area in blue. Currently, again, we operate paratransit service throughout the entire county, and we are committed to continuing that, but we are interested in seeking more creative and efficient solutions outside of what is mandated by the ADA. And so if you're interested in learning more or know someone who should be involved in this conversation, if they're in the disabilities community, if they currently ride our Open Door paratransit service, I encourage you to visit indigo.net/beyondada or contact our customer service at 317-635-3344. There will be American Sign Language translation at all of the meetings. And if there are requests for other accommodations, you can reach out to me at jpatterson@indigo.net. Again, that's jpatterson@indigo.net. Now I'll pass it along to Faith Chadwick to talk about our exciting new fare system, MyKey.
Hi, everybody. I am Faith Chadwick. I am Indigo Public Information Officer. I'm sorry, I'm hearing a lot of feedback and I can't tell if it's me.
Jordan, you might want to mute yourself.
Okay.
Thanks, Jordan. All right, so we're going to talk about MyKey, which, as Jordan said, is IndyGo's new fare system. Very excited to talk to you about this. This is something that is really a game changer for our riders in terms of rider benefits and flexibility when it comes to purchasing, carrying, and paying for your fare. So MyKey is a system that includes both tap cards and a mobile app. So we will talk, let's get more into it. So there are 3 different types of MyKey media. So the first 2 are both tap cards. So there's both the soft cards, which are in the farthest left photo, and those cards are vended by the ticket vending machines located on bus rapid transit stations, as well as at the Carson Transit Center. So those cards are more of a flexible paper, but they have the same technology as the hard tap cards. So they're still reloadable, they're still reusable. So if you purchase a card from a ticket vending machine, don't throw it out after you use it once, because you can hang on to it and keep reloading it. We also have hard cards, which feel a little bit more like a gift card or something like that, that are available at our customer service. So if you are a veteran or a half fare rider, you can also visit the transit center to get a personalized card that has your photo ID on it. And also includes the MyKey technology. If you're not in one of those populations, you can still get a regular MyKey hard card at the transit center. And then there's also a mobile app. So the mobile app is available for Android and iPhone. And you can find it in the app stores now by searching MyKey IndyGo, and then it's free to download. So once you have your MyKey media, there's a few different ways that you can load fare value to it. So ticket vending machines, which like I mentioned before, are at the bus rapid transit stations as well as the Carson Transit Center. Those take cash and credit or debit card. You can visit IndyGo's customer service during the retail desk hours to work with a customer service representative to add funds to your card. You can use the MyKey website, which is linked on indigo.net/MyKey, and you can create an account there and register your card. You can also do this on the mobile app, which is really important for account security and to be eligible for weekly fare capping, which we'll talk about in just a minute. And then there's the mobile app. So if you want to be totally on your phone, you can pay with your phone, you can reload your app right on your phone. But it's also an option if you're using a tap card as well to reload it conveniently right on your phone and not have to actually visit a station or the transit center in order to do that. So once you have your MyKey media and you've loaded it with fare value, it's very easy to use it on the bus. So on local routes, which is anything other than rapid transit, you will tap or scan one as you're boarding. So if you're using a card, you tap it on that circle you can see on the front of the validator. If you're using your phone, you hold your phone underneath the validator and scan the QR code. And like I said, on local routes, you do that as you're boarding, same way you would pay at the fare box if you were using a regular paper pass. On bus rapid transit, you'll want to do that at the station before getting on board. A really critical piece of bus rapid transit is that fare collection takes place off board. This helps the bus to move more quickly and efficiently through the route and allows you to board through any door. So you do that at the station and just hold on to your media in case a fare inspector needs to check it. So even though this is a new system, fares themselves are staying the same. So it's still $1.75 for a 2-hour trip. So for your first ride and then 2 hours of transfer after that first validation, or 85 cents if you're a half fare rider. But what is different about MyKey is that you're charged per ride up until you reach the fare cap. So with a regular paper pass right now, you're guessing I'm going to need to ride the bus for the next 31 days. I'll buy a 31-day pass. Or I need to ride for 10 trips. I'll buy a 10-trip pass. With MyKey, you load value to your account, but those funds don't expire and you're only charged when you actually take the rides. So you pay per ride until you reach the fare cap, which is a new thing for IndyGo, and I will talk about on the next slide. So the fare cap, the easiest way to think of it is that it is the most that you can pay in a day or a week. So there's two different amounts for fare capping, which are on a daily and a weekly basis. So earlier I talked about the importance of creating a MyKey account and linking your card to that account. So you need to do that in order to be eligible for weekly fare capping, but it's also a good idea because it associates you with your card. So in the event that you lose it or something happens to it, you can actually call our customer service and, freeze that card so that you don't, it doesn't get used by someone else or something like that. So the fare capping amounts are $4 per day or $15.75 per week. And then for half fare, $2 a day and $7.65 per week. So basically that means that you pay for each ride until you meet that threshold. Once you've met the fare cap, the rest of your rides for that day, or if it's on a weekly basis, no more money is deducted from your account. An important note is that fare capping is specific to the fare media that you're using. So you should plan to stick to one. If you're using the app, you should make all of your validations with the app, or alternatively, with a tap card, stick to a tap card. If you go back and forth between the two, the rides won't count together towards the same fare cap. And so this was a really quick overview, but we have a lot of educational resources available on indigo.net/MyKey. We have a whole series of videos called MyKey University that will teach you everything that you need to know about how the system works, how you can get a MyKey card or download the app, and how to use it. So definitely check out that resource. And that's all for MyKey. I think Jordan is just unmuted. And he will be talking to you about Purple Line.
Awesome. So yeah, we are really excited about our next bus rapid transit route. That will be replacing our most productive route, Route 39, and one of our highest ridership routes. And it'll also bring significant infrastructure improvements to 30th Street and Post Road. So we're very excited. And getting into the alignments, it actually has similar features to the red line, including actually following the red line and sharing stations with it from the Julian Carson Transit Center all the way to 38th and Park, where you see this last circle red dot close to the Purple Line logo. And in this segment, shared stations will benefit from 5 to 7 minute service as purple and red buses will alternate throughout this segment. And then east of Park Avenue Station, the Purple Line will continue on to 38th Street all the way to Post Road. And then from Post Road, it'll go north to Ivy Tech Lawrence campus. This is about 15.2 miles and includes 30 stations total, 12 of which are shared with the red line, and the rest will be solely for the Purple Line. And as I said, it follows our current Route 39, which is our highest, or I should say, most productive route. And like the red line, the Purple Line will provide service 7 days per week for 20 hours per day, Mondays through Saturday, and then 14-hour service on Sundays. And 90% of the corridor will have dedicated transit-only lanes. And I want to make a note that, our mission is to connect our community to economic and cultural opportunities through safe, reliable, and accessible mobility experiences. And the Purple Line does just this. It replaces our Route 39, again, our most productive route and one of our highest ridership routes, with safe, reliable transit service, reducing their transit travel time by 25%. And then, we're really excited about who we get to serve and carrying out our mission, because the corridor is made up of 61% minority population and 30% low income population. And they'll have access to over 134,000 jobs. So when you talk about, equity and accessibility, transportation has to be a part of that conversation, and the Purple Line seeks to accomplish those priorities. Let's talk about money. So the Purple Line is funded through a combination of local and federal grants. The total project budget is $169 million. And about 7.4 million of this contribution will be from DPW and Citizens Energy Group to conduct sewer separation along a portion of 38th Street from Fall Creek Parkway to Adams Street, excuse me. And then the other 162 million is what the FTA considers to be project budget from the standpoint of capital investment grants eligibility. And of that, there will be a 50% or $81 million match, and the other 50% will come from a combination of federal grants and other DPW local match contributions, as well as IndyGo local funds. All right, let's go over station details. So there will be 18 new stations dedicated just for the Purple Line. The 12 other will be shared with the red line. And it has some really cool features that help to speed up service and provide a convenient, reliable experience for our customers. One being off-board fare collection. Faith just talked about our new MyKey system. So the ticket vending machines will be compatible with the MyKey technologies, and riders will actually be able to purchase tickets before boarding and present proof of payment upon request. This allows passengers to board at any door, and it really significantly speeds up our boarding time. Another feature is level boarding, where the BRT bus docks at the same platform height as the station. And so operationally, This allows for smooth movement between the bus floor and the bus, or I should say the boarding platform. And this feature will especially be useful and helpful for passengers in wheelchairs, those who are using strollers or canes or mobility devices, or even traveling with a bicycle. Other features that these stations have are real-time arrival time, so you can know exactly when your bus is scheduled to come. It'll have Wi-Fi. It also has security features like cameras and snow melts, and again, it's also ADA accessible. As much as this is a transit project, it is also an infrastructure project. The project does have travel time improvements and safety improvements, but the amount of infrastructure improvements, 50% of the budget is actually going to support infrastructure improvements. And so, we know that our transit riders start and end every trip as a pedestrian. But the Purple Line project also includes sidewalk construction and reconstruction, upgraded curb ramps, new crosswalks, and new pedestrian signals. There'll also be a multi-use path that'll be about 3 miles for both pedestrians and bicycle riders along the north side of 38th Street from Tacoma to Sheridan. This will provide a connection to the Fall Creek Greenway and fill a large gap in the bike network. And because it runs on streets, the city of Indianapolis also benefits from this project through resurfacing and storm sewer work that takes place. And so, we want you to try out Bus Rapid Transit if you're not doing so. But even if you never get on a bus, if you frequent the corridor, you're going to see the benefits of the Purple Line project. And it'll have a lot of added value to the 38th Street corridor and Post Road area. This is an intersection at Wallace Avenue and 38th Street, right at the Mount Zion Apostolic Church. When we talk about more than transit, I think this is a powerful kind of contrast that you can see what 38th Street looks like today and what it'll look like with the Purple Line project when it's complete. You can see those significant infrastructure improvements. I like to call out to the left, or on the picture on the right, on the left of that picture, you can see the new multi-use path, new and replaced sidewalks, protected left and U-turns, and I'd also like to point out a new inverted median that will be provided for additional drainage on the road, which is a new feature for the Purple Line. And then this gives you a bird's eye view of Emerson and 38th Street. And in this rendering, you can see how the project will better define business driveways and ultimately improve safety. I'd also like to point out that sidewalks and increased accessibility with ADA signals, crosswalks, and ramps will also be a major component of the project. And then you can also see the center running bus lane, which will create protected turn opportunities for motorists to access businesses, adding more safety for motorists. Now let's talk about the dedicated lane configurations. So there are 3 dedicated lane configurations that are incorporated into this design. The first one being the dedicated bi-directional bus-only lane. And this involves bus traveling in both directions using the single lane segment, as you would see on College Avenue today. And what this means for motorists is that there will be signalized left turns and U-turns approximately a half mile to a quarter mile, adding several new signals, but there will be no left turns or U-turns between signals. So motorists will have to go to that next signalized light in order to make left turns and U-turns. And this will operate between Guilford and Fall Creek. In this configuration, I'd like to note, was determined to be the most optimal for the purpose of safety, reliability, and right-of-way constraints. The next configuration that I'll discuss is the center running dedicated bus-only lane. And this configuration uses a 2-way dedicated lane one for each direction of travel. So it's still in the center of the road, but instead of using one single lane, there are two lanes, one going in each direction. And just like the previous configuration, there are no left turns or U-turns in between signals. And it will operate like this between Fall Creek and Shaylin. And then the last configuration is the dedicated bus and turn lane, also known as a BAT lane. And in this configuration, motorists can merge through a bus and turn lane to access existing left turn pockets. You'll see this between Shaylin and Post Road. And then you also see this between 38th Street on Post Road and then 56th Street. So throughout that segment. Beyond 56th Street, there will be mixed traffic to the fort. And then I'd like to make a note that dedicated lanes and turn restrictions, it may seem like an inconvenience to riders, but there are significant safety benefits. Consultants found that between 2013 and 2015, 415 crashes may have been avoided on 38th Street if the center running dedicated lane had been in place. And so we see this as a necessary and significant part of operating bus rapid transit, making sure that it's efficient for our riders, but also making sure that it's safe for everyone who frequents that corridor. This image kind of breaks up and shows you what the lane configuration will be by segment. And so in front of the State Fairgrounds between College Avenue and Fall Creek Parkway, the Purple Line will run in a short section of bidirectional transit lanes, similar to what is found on College Avenue of the Red Line. And the buses will operate in a single center lane. And then from Fall Creek Parkway to Shaylin Avenue, that's where you'll find the dedicated center running lanes, which will allow U-turns and left turns at permitted signalized intersections. And then from 38th Street and Shaylin to 56 and Post, that's where you'll find the BAT lane, which will allow motorists to merge in the bus lane in order to access those left turn pockets. So let's talk about timeline. I'm sure this is what everyone is interested in knowing. So the Purple Line construction is anticipated to begin as early as late spring or early summer of this year. And we anticipate it will open up for revenue service in year 2024. And where are we now? So as of this week, we are officially at 100% design completion. Super excited about that. Utility relocation work is ready to go, but notice to proceed will not be given until a final decision is made on Senate Bill 141. Some of you might be following the news and may be familiar with this. Some may not be familiar with it at all. So for those who are not, there is existing legislation that says IndyGo must raise at least 10% of the annual operating expenses of projects and services created or expanded through local transit income tax from sources other than taxes and fares. So to make that more plain, about $6 million we'd have to run fundraise. And we've always been committed and will continue to be committed to seeking out funds from other sources, such as federal grants to support our projects and increase the number of improvements we're able to make. However, this bill changes expectations in the middle of the game. We're wanting to incorporate some other improvements with our local network and 2 other bus rapid transit routes, which we know will support our entire system and offer a complete benefit to our riders. But it changes the expectations by suddenly excluding state and federal dollars from counting towards this requirement. And honestly, this language does put the Purple Line and the future Blue Line at risk, as well as some of those other local improvements. So the Senate Bill 141 has passed the full Senate, but it is not law yet. It will need to be passed by the House and signed by the governor before it becomes law. And the FTA will not issue grant with the potential of losing our local money. So once this grant is executed, seeing that we get through SB 141. Once the grant is executed, the purple line will go out to bid and we will issue notice to proceed with utility work. And you can anticipate continued outreach. We plan on doing another round of outreach in the coming months where you can attend a public meeting, talk to project experts, etc. And I'm glad that you all have decided to join this presentation. As much as I'm sharing information with you, I would really like feedback on what you all would like to see as far as IndyGo supporting neighborhoods, businesses, and residents. We're committed to providing that support so that we can see neighborhoods thrive through construction. We know that construction is not easy for anyone. We definitely anticipate there being both long and short-term closures, and access to all businesses and residents will be maintained, but we want to provide a toolkit and resources that will actually be useful in mitigating some of the inconvenience throughout the construction process. So some things that we have plans and I'd like to get your feedback on is a construction look ahead newsletter that will show 3 weeks of construction activity before it actually happens. And so businesses, residents, they can prepare and know what's coming by signing up for that newsletter. I'd also like to call out that at indigo.net/purpleline, the newsletter sign up is available now. So you can, if you're interested in receiving these updates, you can put in your email address, and when these updates start going out, you'll receive those. There'll also be a separate construction webpage dedicated for the Purple Line, where you'll see the same information that's found in the construction newsletter and some more helpful resources. We know that that people want to, talk to our project experts, and so we will have a field office located at our new campus East Campus facility located at 33rd and Post Road, where people can talk to our project experts in person. We know with the pandemic, not everyone feels comfortable with that. And we want to offer a more convenient way to talk to our project experts. And so we'd like to offer virtual office hours throughout the month, where neighborhoods and businesses can get questions answered and concerns addressed. Something else that we'd like to do is print specific signage for business, whether that be yard signs saying that, hey, we're Purple Line business and we are still open, or window clings letting customers just know that, that these businesses are still open. Excuse me. We're also willing to do some printed material and some signage that shows how properties are able for businesses and churches and establishments. We'll do a social media toolkit, and also we're willing to promote businesses throughout this phase, whether that be free advertising on the radio or potentially television ads. We do anticipate that there will be some long and short-term closures, and so one idea that we have is doing pop-up events before a closure happens, if the construction schedule allows, where people can talk to our experts, learn about the project, raise awareness for what the neighborhood will see in the coming weeks, and also, highlight and support the community and the businesses inside of the community. And then lastly, we have our corridor liaison, Jarvis Jointer, and he will have direct access to the construction groups and our contractors. And so if there are any problems that arise, he is the immediate contact and can pretty quickly handle some of the things that arise. And so there is a survey that will be added to the chat. If you can click the link, we want to know if you're interested in some of those programs that I talked about towards the beginning of the presentation. We also want to know what you think about the toolkit that we have and any ideas you have for how we can support businesses and establishments and residents and neighborhoods throughout the corridor. And with that being said, we will go ahead and move on to the question and answer portion.
If anyone has any questions, please feel free to put it in the Q&A or the chat box.
I see someone has their hand up, but I think they might need to submit a question through the Q&A. I don't see a way that, Judith, I would love to talk to you,
Judith,
but
would you mind
unfortunately I
typing
can't
out?
let you speak.
Judith, would you mind typing out your
I
question?
actually can add them to the screen. So if you want to do it that
Oh,
way, I
perfect.
can do that. So hold on.
Sure. Hey, Judith.
Okay, there we are. First off, I want to commend you for all the programs that you're putting in place. I love the Transit Neighbor Program and the Adopt a Stop and the travel training. I would need that. I would need that. There was one thing I wanted to clarify on the MyKey. You said that there was 2 populations that qualified for the half price fare. I caught one was for veterans, but I didn't catch what the other one was.
Great question. And sorry, I might have made that a little bit unclear. So veterans ride IndyGo for free. Yeah, so they can, if you just have to fill out an application form and bring a couple documents to the transit center, but then veterans can get a special veterans ID. We also have a half fare program that's for some other populations. So that's a separate program, but all the information about both of those programs is on our website at Fares and Passes, indigo.net/fares and passes. Or you can always visit the Carson Transit Center. There's usually just an application, and then, like I said, you get a personalized ID card, so that, you know, especially when someone's riding for free, we want to make sure that it's you. So
Sure. Okay. All right. Thank you.
yeah.
It looks like there may be a question in the chat. I know you said construction will be going on from 21 to 23, but are there more specifics about the timing or different phasing? It is really too soon to say for sure. I would encourage you, if you're interested in learning more, to fill out that survey. We can get you included on the Corridor Advisory Committee, where we'll share updates towards the end of this month, and then we'll have a phase of public outreach afterwards. What we can share is that early spring, late fall, early spring, early summer. Excuse me, I'm getting the seasons all mixed up. Late spring, early summer, we will, you'll likely see the utility relocations happening towards the middle of the corridor. And we will be coordinating with the utility companies. They will actually be the ones to notify residents and businesses of utility relocation, but we will be coordinating with them. Once you see utility relocation, you could see towards the ends of the segments some major roadway improvements, because towards the ends, there are not as many utility relocations that have to happen. But as far as timing and segments, I cannot speak to those specifics just yet, but hopefully we have more concrete information to share in the coming month.
Another thing just to note is that as construction is ongoing, the 3-week look ahead that Jordan mentioned will provide very specific details about where work will be happening for the upcoming 3 weeks. And then that comes out regularly so that you have more information once construction has started about what specific work is going on and where those projects will be happening.
I don't see any additional questions. That must mean, Faith, that we did a decent job.
I do see one. I see one from Emily that I can address quickly. Emily asked about any lessons from the Red Line project that changed how the Purple Line project was approached. So certainly there were a few design changes to the Purple Line stations, to increase safety and that sort of thing, based on what we've seen so far on the Red Line. In terms of community input, I think, this is always something that's very important to IndyGo, but we're really committed to working with the residents and the business owners. And that's why we're doing so much now before construction has even begun, to hear what's most important to the community and to the neighborhoods, and to make sure that the resources and the tools that we provide are useful and good resources as we move into construction, because we know that construction isn't easy, but we really want to be good partners throughout the process. Now I don't see any more questions.
All right. Well, you all can reclaim your time.
Hang on. There was oh, you did answer it, Faith. I'm sorry. They asked about the link. Was it available another way?
Yeah, so definitely if you can copy and paste it into a browser to look at later, that link isn't going away when the webinar ends. So you should still be able to access it when you're not in the webinar.
I'm going to put my email address in the chat. If you all have any additional questions or interested in some of those programs that I discussed, we are really committed to working with neighborhoods and forming those relationships.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. If there are no other questions, and I'm checking the Q&A, and I don't see anything else, and I don't see any hands raised. So
wait, Taylor Firestone has a comment.
Okay.
Let's read this. Just want to commend IndyGo on how resilient you are. Thank you for all the hard, difficult work you all are doing. Many in Indianapolis appreciate it. Thank you, Taylor. We appreciate that. Had to read that before we ended the live.
All right. Okay, I just want to thank Jordan and Faith for their time and their wonderful presentation this evening. And I hope you all have enjoyed being here at Neighbor Power for a Friday night. And thank you very much.